What's good, everybody? Today's Wednesday, December 6th, 1:32 p.m., and this is the UFC 218 Hangover. How I want to start this one off is by talking about the predictions that I made prior to. So here, I put down Eddie Alvarez to win by right uppercut or right knee versus Justin Gaethje. Henry Cejudo is a monster and a future contender for Mighty Mouse. I didn't put a prediction there, but pretty much I stated on my 218 prelude that I thought Cejudo was the most guaranteed win of the night. Ngannou, Overeem's chin will not hold up. I don't think it mattered. Nobody's chin was going to hold up to that. But it picked Ngannou. And then for Holloway, I expect Aldo to implement leg kicks, but won't be enough. Fight will go similar to the first fight. Aldo can only play in the shallow end of the pool. So those are the calls that I made before UFC 218. You can check out my my prelude there. So basically, whatever I post on Facebook, I just go into detail on the podcast. If you guys haven't seen this shot already, be blessed, my child. Be blessed. Okay, so the UFC Hangover for 218 goes like this. Let's see. I said Holloway. Holloway's declared himself the absolute king of 145-pound division. Aldo is still top 5, but he should never want to fight championship fights again, which means 5 rounds instead of 3 rounds. It's clear that Aldo only has enough for 3 rounds if he pushes or if he gets pushed outside of his own pace or his own tactics. Holloway at one point was standing there and you could tell. So Holloway's much taller than Aldo, but he would crouch down, lean forward and be like, go ahead and hit me. And he invited the brawl because he knew that his chin was going to outlast Aldo's chin. And the more that he could make Aldo put everything into every punch, that Holloway's gas tank would outlast Aldo's. So those were kind of the obvious things. I think a lot of people expected Aldo to throw a lot more leg kicks this time. And so that was implemented kind of. It didn't really change the fight that much. It added a flavor. It added another puzzle to the a piece to the puzzle, but not nearly enough. And so, yeah, Aldo just cannot fight 5 rounds, not at a high pace at least. And that's exactly what Holloway did. If you want to check out a dope analysis, go check out Luke Thomas on YouTube. He broke it down, and this is something that I didn't pick up at all. But one of the things that Max Holloway did differently, even though most of the fight was the same, was that he circled, originally in the first fight, he circled right. So away from the power hand and away from the leg kicks. And that's why I think a lot of the times Aldo was not able to implement that in the first fight. And the second time around, Holloway, for the most part, shifted his fight stance and his body clockwise, so to the left, which is counterintuitive when you're fighting somebody with the power on the right-hand side. But as far as an overall fight look and where Aldo was predicting Holloway to be, he actually went the complete opposite way. And this only worked because Aldo and Holloway just fought before this fight. So they both kind of know each other's tendencies. And Holloway just flipped the script on him and completely started circling the other way, which is everything Aldo trained for, I guaranteed, was so that he could fight, orthodox to orthodox and pivot the way everyone else has ever pivoted and fought him from that stance. But at the end of the day, I'm calling it now. For the next 3 years, I don't know who's going to beat Holloway at 145. I think he's going to be the king of the division. He's going to be pound for pound top 3. He's going to be in discussion with Demetrius. And, I don't know if John Jones counts anymore. Conor McGregor. He's going to be up there. It's going to take a long time to beat this guy. And I would say anybody he fights for the next 2-3 years, bet on Holloway. Number 2, because Ngannou's left hook from African Hell. Because of Ngannou's left hook cut from African Hell. So I called in the prelude, I said Ngannou would win. It was just pulled it out of my ass, but I was like left hook. And so to give myself half credit, it was like a left uppercut hook. It came from down here and went up. So I called it a left hook cut from African Hell. Every heavyweight champion's Twitter feed reads, "Today I decided to retire from MMA. Stipe has no shot to keep the belt. Bet on Ngannou every fight except against Cain Velasquez." So let me break this down. Did I think that he was going to beat Overeem? Yes. Did I think he was going to beat him in under a minute like that? Hell no. But it was very clear from the beginning, Overeem knew what could happen. He comes out the gate throwing a leaping left hook, keeps his head way down here. I mean, that's how he starts off the fight. Then he immediately goes into the clinch, pushes him up against the cage. Ngannou was too strong, turned him around. Ref breaks it up. The first actual sequence where they both plant their feet, Overeem had the right idea by overcompensating his head and his body, but man, what can you say? Ngannou has the eyes for the game. He knew where Overeem's head was going to be. He stepped in a little bit, threw a left hook cut from African hell. Man, I mean, Overeem's head just, dude, blessed. He just looked blessed, like he was being lifted to the heavens. But shit, any heavyweight that watched that fight, I mean, who wants to fight this guy now? He's fast as shit. His footwork is incredible. His hands are powerful. He's submitted people already. I mean, he's so big and strong, and he's just super chill. But more than that, swift feet, good eyes, and it seems like he has good fight IQ. I can't tell yet. I can't say I've seen a bunch of his fights. Most of them don't last very long, so it's hard to see. Does he have a chin? I don't know. Does he have cardio? I don't know. Is he super smart in the fight game? I don't know. But from what he does have, and it being the heavyweight division, I just can't see Stipe beating him. I mean, but this might be the most anticipated heavyweight fight, not called Brock Lesnar, Alistair Overeem. I mean, since then, because these guys have been doing nothing but knocking out their opponents. I mean, Stipe's, I think, on a 4-5 KO streak. Ngannou finishes every fight. So this is the fight to be made. It's going to be made. I don't think Stipe has a shot. Stipe gets hit. That's the problem. Stipe gets hit a lot, and Ngannou only has to hit him once. Ngannou. And I'm not saying Cain Velasquez can beat him. I'm saying it's going to take somebody who has the ability to take him down, and I don't even know if Cain does. But the only person in the heavyweight division that has the skill set to even attempt to beat Ngannou would be Cain Velasquez. Number 3, Eddie Alvarez is a goddamn G. His leg was essentially mangled, and he kept pressing forward. Look at my previous post. Right uppercut or right knee. Just saying. Eddie will not get the title back. Gaethje will never get a title shot at 155 pounds. Okay. So everybody was trying to say this was the fight of the night because nobody watches the prelims. But if you want to see a better fight than this, go check out Yancy Medeiros versus Cowboy Oliveira. That was on the prelims. That fight was ridiculous too. They both got fight of the night bonuses at the end of the night. And I think this is the first time UFC's ever done that, where they give 2 fight of the nights. But what can I say about it, man? I mean, like I said, I spent the most time breaking down this fight. Gaethje likes to step forward. He likes to get hit. He doesn't like to get hit. He doesn't mind getting hit. And he has this shell defense where he just hit me. But he keeps his chin tucked. He keeps his forehead out, and he protects his sides. So, but one thing I noticed that he did, which I did not pick up on a lot of his other fights, is how he rotates when he's trying to dodge getting hit. But he'll rotate this way and just come back with a counter. So a lot of the head movement is actually to power up his counter hook coming back from the opposite side. But man, yeah, he destroyed Eddie Alvarez's legs. He was hopping on one leg. His face was swollen out like he had a baseball in there. Alvarez, that is. But yeah, I just thought that Gaethje's, what makes him great works at lower levels or outside the top 10. Once you hit the top 10, man, people are going to find holes. And if I saw that he could catch him with a right uppercut or a right knee, then of course, Mark Henry and Eddie Alvarez already figured that out. It was just whether or not they were going to able to implement it and execute it, and they did. And another thing that Eddie Alvarez did, I think when he realized the right uppercuts weren't necessarily working, started going to the body heavy. And I think that's the blueprint for Gaethje. You got to take him out in the body. It gassed him. It hurt him. It made him bring his hands down. He didn't know where to guard his, he could no longer just keep his hands up here like that. But more than anything, man, Eddie Alvarez really took a beating and came forward And he was right. He called it. He said a guy like Gaethje will bring the dog out of him. And that's what it was. However, God, he got hit by a lot. He got hit a lot by Gaethje. I don't think Eddie Alvarez is going to climb back to the championship caliber 155. But I don't think it matters. I think his legacy is sealed. He's beaten champions from every fight organization. Bellator, UFC, World Series of Fighting, Pride, I want to say Bodog. Like, there was a list. I forgot. There was like 7 or 8 different fight leagues where Eddie Alvarez has literally beaten every champion of everything he's ever fought. So the title Underground King is super appropriate for him, because I don't think he'll ever get the love that he deserves, especially because most MMA fans will remember him like they remember Aldo, the guy who got KTFO'd by Conor McGregor. That Alvarez, when he lost to McGregor, that was pretty bad. I mean, he got punked. I don't know what was worse, that or the Aldo fight, because at least Aldo could be like, man, caught me clean, I went down. Alvarez was getting lit up on the feet, like lit up. But for Gaethje, as exciting as he is, and I put it on a post on my Facebook even before the card came on, I was like, this guy will be a star in the UFC whether he wins or loses. And I think that's true. I think he got a ton of fans and people behind wanting to watch his next fight. Let's quickly go through 4 and 5. Henry Cejudo is the baddest flyweight not named Demetrius. He murked Reyes on the feet and destroyed Pettis on the ground, Khabib style. Cejudo is the second most well-rounded 125-pound fighter on the planet Earth. Doesn't matter, because he is not good enough to beat Demetrius now. He will have to catch Demetrius when Demetrius is old and down to his last 2-3 fights. Cejudo is a lot younger, and he needs time to build that skill set and shorten that gap. But I think Cejudo beats everybody at 125 pounds. Everybody. Except Demetrius. Every female fighter athlete that the UFC has ever pushed has gone down like the Titanic. Ronda Rousey, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Paige Van Sant, Michelle Waterson. And that was the only note that I had. There wasn't much about that Tisha Torres-Waterson fight. It doesn't really make waves for me in the division. I had high hopes for Waterson because you don't really see a lot of Asian American fighters, and she's a good representation of what I would want from a fighter. But it's clear that she's just not good enough to compete with the top 5, but can handle anyone between top 5 and to the 15th. But yeah, she's just, I don't know. There's something lacking there. Whether it's power, speed, but I think she needs to go down to 115, I guess. I think the 125ers just too big, too strong for her. But yeah, so anyways, all in all, props to UFC, man. 217 was a great card. 218, amazing card. We got Fight Night coming up, Cub Swanson versus Ortega. I'm going to break that down, just that fight, because that's the only real fight on the card that I want to play. 219 is coming up, Chris Cyborg versus Holly Holm. I think that line is already Chris Cyborg minus 340. So if you're planning on playing that and you want to play Cyborg, you better get on it now. That's only going to get worse. But yeah, that was the Hangover, man. All in all, I think UFC has a problem because they put Conor McGregor at such a high pedestal and position now that every UFC, every event, every pay-per-view is going to be compared to those numbers, which is fine. But I think if you get close to 1 million pay-per-views, that's still a success. But it's just tough when you have something to compare yourself to, pretty much any UFC that McGregor's on. These other cards are going to seem lackluster, but damn, they're putting on some damn good fights. I hope you guys are watching it, not just when Nate Diaz or McGregor's on. Yeah, I think there's some amazing young stars coming up, and a lot of these divisions are getting fun and exciting. I mean, the heavyweight division's struggling, but heavyweight, yeah, 125 and heavyweights. Yeah, flyweight and heavyweight. Everything else in between is looking pretty good. But yeah, so be on the lookout for the prelude to the Ortega Cub Swanson fight. Just off bat, I'm taking Cub Swanson, but I got to do some actual breakdown of the fight tape and see who I'm really going to end up playing. But check it out. I'll see you guys for the next one.